All right, so this is for Pre-Calc 11, Chapter 8, Section 2. It says here, for a linear quadratic system of equations, what are all the possible number of solutions? Solutions can be found graphically. So in the last section, we graphed them using technology. But this one, we're going to actually use a little bit of algebra. And so example number 1 says, solve the following linear quadratic system using substitution. And so this is a concept from Pre-Calc 10. So you have two equations. What we're going to do is we're going to substitute one for the other. And so if you take a look, there's a degree 1, a degree 1. This one's a degree 2. It always makes life easier if you substitute from the degree 1 equation into a degree 2 equation. So let's do that. So it says here 3x plus y is equal to negative 9. So I'm going to go y equals negative 3x minus 9. And we're going to substitute that into equation number 2. So equation number 2 says substitute the linear equation for y to the quadratic. So here we go, 4x squared minus x plus what used to be a y value, that's this one here, is going to now be negative 3x minus 9, all equals negative 9. So combining like terms, 4x squared negative 4x minus 9 is equal to minus 9. And then, of course, I'm going to move the minus 9 and the minus 9 together. So that becomes 4x squared minus 4x, all equals 0. Now, if you remember, this is a quadratic equation. So what we can do is we can take out the greatest common factor. That's 4x. That leaves me with an x minus 1 is equal to 0. All right. Now, these are two factors. What factors will allow the product to equal 0? Well, if you substitute x equals 0, then the whole product will be 0, or x is equal to 1. So these are your two possible solutions. Now what we have to do is we have to substitute the resulting x values. All right, so we always validate or verify our answers. And so going to test x equals 0. So is this true? I'm going to substitute it into equation number 1. So that becomes y equals negative 3 times 0 is equal to negative 9. So y is equal to negative 9. So one of our possible solutions is x equals 0, y is equal to negative 9. The next possible solution is x equals 1. I'm going to substitute in equation number 1. All right. And then this becomes y equals negative 3 times 1 minus 9. Negative 3 minus 9. Y is equal to, y is equal to a negative 12. So my answer is an x equals 1, y equals negative 12. And we can always verify this using Desmos. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time doing it algebraically. You just verify it with Desmos. All right, moving on to the next example. It says here solve by substitution. Here we have a quadratic, and here we have a linear equation. So I'm going to substitute linear equation into my quadratic. So here's my equation number 2. Y equals 2x minus 4. And then I'm going to show that equation number 2 gets substituted in equation number 1. So now I have what looks like 2x minus 4 all equals, equation number 1 is x squared minus 3x minus 4. So here's my equation number 1. I'm going to put 0 is equal to x squared minus 5x equals 0. And again, this is, again, this is a quadratic equation, so one of the strategies is, of course, factoring. So what are the possible roots? The possible roots are x equals 0 or x equals 5. Now I'm going to verify this by substituting into my linear equation. So my linear equation, equation number 2, that's 2 times 0 minus y is equal to 4. Therefore, y is equal to 4. So that's one of my answers. So the solution is going to be an x value of 0, a y value of 4. Now I'm going to test the other x value. So equation 2 again, 2 times 5 minus y is equal to 4. That's 10 minus y is equal to 4. What is y? The only value is 6. So what is the possible solution? An x value of 5 and a y value of 6. And again, what you can do is you can use Desmos to verify that is an actual intersection point between a quadratic and a linear equation. All right, example number 3. It says solve the linear quadratic systems using elimination. Okay, so again, this is from pre-calc 10. It says here, align the terms with the same degree. So this is the most important thing. All right, so what we're going to do is 5x minus y is equal to 10. So that's a degree 1, that's a degree 1. We have x squared plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. So again, we line up the ones with the same degree, but you have to get rid of the y's. Okay? You have to eliminate the y's. And the only way to do that is we're going to multiply equation number 1 by a negative 2. The reason we do that is, of course, then this will be a positive 2y, that'll be a negative 2y. So here we go. Equation number 1 becomes negative 10 x positive 2y is equal to negative 20. And then equation number 2 is an x squared plus x minus 2y is equal to 0. And notice that these are just opposite signs. Elimination, we just add them together and they just cancel out. So our combined equation now is x squared minus 9x is equal to negative 20. Well, I'm going to bring the negative 20 over to the left-hand side. That becomes positive 20 is equal to 0. Now this looks like it's possibly factorable. So I'm going to factor this. So this becomes negative 5x, negative 4. And if you're unsure, just make sure that you can expand it to get the original quadratic. So what are my possible solutions? My possible solutions are x equals positive 5 or positive 4. Now, I'm going to test these values. I'm going to test these values here, and I'm going to test them in my linear equation. So what was my linear equation again? We always test on the original equation, okay? Always the original. So 5 times of x value of 5 minus y is equal to 10. That's 25 minus y is equal to 10. The only y value that works is 15. So one of my possible solutions is an x value of 5, y value 15. Going to test the other x value of 4. 5 times 4 minus y is equal to 10. That's 20 minus y is equal to 10. Again, the only y value is 10. So what is the intercept, or the intersection? It's going to be an x value of 4 and a y value of, oops, I don't know why I wrote that, 10. So now, for quadratic system equations, what are the possible number of solutions? Well, in a previous lesson, we talked about that there's either 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no solutions. So it says you solve the system first by substitution and then by elimination. So we're going to do this process twice. Okay, we're going to do this process twice. For this equation, it says 6x squared minus x minus y is equal to negative 1. 4x squared minus 4x minus y is equal to negative 6. So we're going to do substitution first. So I'm going to use equation number 1, and I'm going to isolate for y. So y equals, it's going to be 6x squared minus x plus 1. I'm going to substitute equation 1 into equation number 2. And now equation number 2 looks like this: 4x squared minus 4x minus, and now what used to be y is going to be 6x squared minus x plus 1, all equals negative 6. Don't forget, grade 11s, you need to distribute this negative to each term in the bracket. So this becomes 4x squared, negative 4x, negative 6x squared, positive x, negative 1, all equals negative 6. And now it's just a matter of combining like terms. So now I have negative 2x squared. I'm going to cancel these terms out because I don't want to see them anymore. Negative 3x, negative 1, positive 6 is equal to 0. So let's take a look. Negative 2x squared, negative 3x, negative 5 is equal to 0. Now, is this factorable? We'll see. So I'm going to multiply negative throughout the whole thing. So this becomes 2x squared, positive 3x, positive 5 is equal to 0. And yes, if you remember one of the old lessons on how to factor, I'm not going to spend any time showing you that. I'm just going to go ahead and factor this. This becomes what looks like x minus 1, and then 2x positive 5 is equal to 0. So what are my possible answers? X equals 1, or x is equal to negative 5 over 2. Now, once we have those possible x values, I'm going to try to find the y values by substituting it into any one of these equations. So it's going to be 6, 1 squared, minus 1, minus y is equal to negative 1. 6 minus 1.
It's good to see you again.
6, I'm recording a video. Now I'm going to have to pause that because you're in here.
Sorry. Because anybody will just walk in.
All right, so 6 times 1 squared is 6, minus 1 minus y is equal to negative 1. That's 5 minus y is equal to negative 1. The only way that works is if y is a positive 6. So one of the possible solutions is x equals 1, y equals 6. Now the other solution, negative 5 over 2, I'm not going to bother showing you the work, but it's going to be negative 5 over 2, and then the y value works out to a 41. Okay, we just apply the same strategy. We apply x into this particular term and solve for y. All right, now elimination. We're going to do the exact same question, but we're going to eliminate. So let me just shrink this down a little bit. Now the only way elimination works is you have to eliminate the y's. That's the only way it works. Okay, so I'm going to multiply equation number 1 by a negative 1. So it becomes negative 6x squared, positive x, positive y is equal to positive 1. Equation number 2 we leave alone. Now, notice that this is a positive y, negative y. If we were to add them together, they eliminate, and that's why it's called elimination. So this becomes negative 2x squared, negative 3x is equal to negative 5. I'm going to move everything to the other side, so the right-hand side. So 0 is equal to positive 2x squared, positive 3x minus 5. And notice we have the exact same quadratic equation. And again, I'm not going to waste your time on factoring. We can factor this. This becomes x minus 1 and 2x plus 5. So pick a strategy that you like. But make sure that when you do the test, if I ask for an elimination, you got to show me elimination. And if I ask for substitution, you have to use substitution. Okay? And hopefully this makes sense.